Hey everybody, welcome back to the L.A.M.E Book Club podcast. My name is Ellie.
And I'm Melissa.
And we are talking about Iron Flame Part 3 today, chapters 21 through 30.
Very
to
excited.
Start us off, have anything fun happen over the weekend?
Well, we're recording on a Saturday, so...
A week. I meant week.
Okay. Not particularly, but I do want you to tell your dentist story.
Oh.
Ellie texted me this week and told me this story, and I could not believe it. So you all need to hear it.
Just absolutely wrecked from the dentist, and not for the reasons you would think.
Emotionally
I was
wrecked.
berated for what? For just being a girl? I don't know. So I walk in with Uggs on, like a normal outfit, just baggy jeans, baggy shirt, some Uggs. And I sit on the, what do you call it?
Chair.
The dentist chair. And the hygienist looks at me and she's like, oh, are those shoes that are ridiculously expensive, that can't get dirty and can't go outside and can't get water on them, but they just cost an arm and a leg and people are so stupid for buying them? The
very same.
Those are the ones. And she's like, I just think it's insane that people buy those. This girl was selling them and I just thought, you're ridiculous. I'm trying to save for retirement. Ma'am, whatever, 120 is not going to help you in retirement, okay? 2, then so, okay, Mom, like, I'm letting it roll off the shoulder. I'm cool. I'm relaxed. I actually really like the dentist, so I was like, I'm here for a good time. This started off rough, but we're going to let it go.
It's okay.
Then
we can recover.
She's just like, do you brush your teeth? And I was like, yeah. She's like,
that is also the most humbling thing. You're in the dentist chair and they're like,
Well, I've never, ever, I mean, I'm not brushing them more or less right now. I've never had any hygienist or anybody be like, wow, this is terrible. But today was the day, I guess, because she's like, there's so much buildup. It's just so, you're going to have cavities any day now. And I'm like, I don't feel like that's right, but I'm not in the teeth world, so I don't know. Yeah. But I was like, well, I haven't had a cavity since I was like 12 years old, and I'm brushing them the same. She's just like, I've just never seen this bad before. And I'm like, that's a dang lie. I'm not like a rotten tooth person. My teeth are clean and white, and I've never had braces. I have good teeth, okay? Okay, everyone listening? They're clean. And so, but she's just like really harshing on me. And I'm like, all right, let that roll off the shoulder too. I'm a little bit hurt, but it's okay. Then she goes, like, just small talk. Oh, do you have kids? And I'm like, no. She's like, do you want kids? And I'm like, well, this is kind of an inappropriate question, I personally feel like, because you don't know me very well, but I'm not rude. So I'm like, oh, I'm actually not too sure yet. Because we're kind of leaning both ways right now. She's like, oh yeah, that's the trend with the younger people, that like selfish, I just want to live my life and do my thing. What? I was
what the part that got me.
What if I couldn't have kids and you just called me selfish and also dirty and an Ugg wearer? I just could not believe. How bold.
You're also leaving out my favorite part of the story, when after she cleaned her teeth, she goes, this is going to feel so...
Okay. Oh, that. No, I did leave that out. She's like, this is going to feel... So she's like, after I clean your teeth, this is going to feel so different for you because you're just so used to all the buildup and plaque.
All the plaque?
What? So then I kind of got my just desserts a little when she was talking about her kids. And also, this is a very one-sided conversation because I can't say anything when
That's true.
All your tools are working on my teeth.
You're just having to sit there and take it.
Literally mouth ajar. I just couldn't believe this was happening to me. And so then she's telling me about her kids, and I got out, oh, how old are your kids? She's like, oh, they're, this age. One's very obedient and one is not obedient at all and just kind of runs reckless. And I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds like me and my sister. And she goes, oh, which one are you? I said, I'm the one who is definitely more obedient. And she's like, and that's really stuck throughout your life? I said, yeah, I grew up, I became an accountant. I, married a stable guy, have a stable house, just living the ordinary life. And I'm like, but my sister, on the other hand, grew up to be a tattoo artist and is covered neck to feet in tattoos. She's like, no, no, don't say that. And I was like, oh, it's going to happen. Your child's going to be a tattoo artist covered neck to toes. Shout out to my sister. I love her. Her art is fantastic.
Yeah, very good. And nothing against tattoo artists either, but
no,
man.
I don't share the same view that lady had. I think people with tattoos neck to toes are awesome. But
you just had to pee in her cereal a little.
I really
because
did. She needs to be humbled. Are you kidding me with that?
I know. That was so... Oh, man. So, yeah, my week was not nearly as eventful as yours. But also, I think that would have hurt my feelings, so I'm kind of glad.
I did. I just kind of left like, okay.
Yeah. Okay, also, this isn't breaking news, and I don't even know how recent this news is, so if you've heard it, no, you haven't, and I'm telling you for the first time. But I read somewhere this week that Tairn is based off of Rebecca Yarros's Bulldog.
Aww.
And that made me somehow, like, it works. That just somehow fits.
Total Bulldog energy.
I don't even know her Bulldog, but I can totally see just, like, the grumpiness, like, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cute.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome.
And then 2 more quick housekeeping things before we jump right in. One, we're gonna take a break next week because our episodes come out on Monday, and the following Monday after this one is Christmas, and we will be spending time with our families. So we are going to take a holiday break after this, but we will be back January 1st for the new year with part 4 of Iron Flame. That's going to be chapters 31 through 40. So yeah, just heads up. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
We won't have an episode that Monday.
It ends on the chapters end at 64. So we're almost close to the end after that.
Yeah, I think halfway through January is when we're going to be done with Iron Flame.
I guess we need to start taking polls on what book we should do next.
Yes. That'll be coming soon in the new year, so stay tuned for that. And then lastly, just again, thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for following us and everything. If you haven't already, go ahead, give us a rating. Ideally 5 stars, but to each his own, I guess. On Apple Podcasts, Spotify, got some YouTube comments, and I actually have a review of the week, which I was excited about. It says, I love the humor they add to books while also talking about the best fantasy books that are currently popular at my favorite podcast. So thank you. Yes, sir. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. It feels like a bot, but we're going to pretend that it's not. I don't know. But I appreciate the sentiment regardless.
Any publicity is good publicity.
As Kris Jenner would say, no PR is bad PR. And
there it is.
We all know she's working harder than anyone else, so
yeah,
I'll take it.
I'm not going on that tangent, but I really was thinking about that this morning, oddly enough.
Not to get sidetracked again, but have you watched House of Kardashian?
Yeah.
They did a docuseries.
Well, wait, not the new season?
No. House of Kardashian, not Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
No,
it's like a backstory on. It's mostly about Kris Jenner growing up and how she ended up becoming Kris Jenner.
Momager.
Yep. But it also then it dives into Kim and Kylie a little bit too afterwards. But it was fascinating. I don't know. They fascinate me. I'm fascinated by the Kardashian family.
I know. For science, of course.
Exactly. All right. Ellie.
Yes.
Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
All right. So starting off in chapter 21, this chapter opens with Professor De Vera covering for another professor who got called away for they got an attack. Which this attack they find out had only one casualty who happened to be Mason, which was one of the 10 out of their group that was in Resson. So at this point now, 4 of them are dead, including Luke. They're
just plucking them.
Who's Liam. I don't know.
I heard you struggling, and I was like, "Oh, I'll help you." And I'm like, I can't figure out what you're saying.
Oh my word! I hope this isn't like how the rest of the episode's gonna go for me because. All right, Liam, Soleil, Kieran, and then now Mason. All of them are. And between that and then all the other attacks, started to get a little nervous, Ellie. I'm telling you. I didn't think Violet was going to die, but I got really nervous that like Bodhi and Imogen or something.
Yeah, the ones you like that are expendable.
Well, unfortunately are expendable to the
Yeah.
storyline. Yes.
My parents call those types of people crewmen number 6 because they don't really have like big roles or names, and they're just at any point to make it a little more dramatic.
Have you seen the reel about that little boy? It's like this British mom talking to
Oh,
her
doorman
son.
number, yeah. I
Yeah,
just watched it on my way home today.
you got it. I got a classic role, a really classic one. He's like, what? Oh, or Joseph?
Joseph,
No, I'm door holder number 3. I think I hold it for Jesus or whatever. I don't know. It was. I loved just how stoked he was about
get
door
in
holder number
there,
3.
let's go.
And I
So
love that
cute.
the mom was like, yeah, that's a classic one. Like,
Yeah, did
yeah,
not
hyping
skip
him
a
up.
beat. Loved it. It was so good.
Absolutely. Anyways, okay. But then they're all talking. Professor Rivera is essentially looking at the lesson plan and is like, I don't, this isn't necessary. So she starts talking about the board, like, all the different cultures and everything. And she's asking people, what are some of the costs of having a united, like,
Mhm.
common language, united continent and everything. And one of the quote unquote marked ones, the girl, she is explaining about how she lost her culture. She lost like nothing. There's nothing from a firsthand account of Tirish in their archives,
Mhm.
and everything. And everything just gets lost in translation. And I started feeling really bad. I don't know. I don't think it hit me as much the first time reading it, but like now going through it again, I was like, oh my gosh, I felt really bad for her. Did that
Yeah.
make you? Did you think about that at all while you were reading it, or not really?
Honestly, not real. Like I felt the emotions of like, oh, that's really sad, but not to the point where I was thinking about it much longer after that
I
read.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Rereading it, you kind of focus like on different stuff, and I was just like,
Mhm.
I mean, you kind of get bits and pieces of it based on like comments that Xaden would say, and you kind of feel it in different
Yeah,
areas. But I don't know. That one was like,
it hit hard.
yeah, because I'm like, that's
Mhm.
so sad. I'm just thinking about. I mean, I don't want to get too real, but like that's happened to so many people groups, even in like real
Mhm.
life, and just how much like for granted I take that. I
Yeah.
think like every day,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
anyways, back to fantasy. Don't want to stick in the real world too much. Um, Ree brings up that the folklore was lost and just kind of different between like where depending on what part of the continent that you came from.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Oh,
Did
I'm
you?
just yeah, well, because to me, I'm just like coincidental. And obviously it was, but I just feel like if we were talking about what gets lost in
Yeah.
translation, I wouldn't be like, "Oh, our folklore," and that just so happened to be like what all of this is kind of based on right now. But
Yeah. I agree. I see what
that's
you're
all I have
saying.
to say.
It feels like that'd be the equivalent of someone being like, my children's books were different than your children's books.
Mhm.
But I mean, it was necessary, I feel like, for the thing. And then, but I love that after Ree said that, I mean, Violet is shaking in her boots because she's like, oh no.
Yeah.
But Professor De Vera smiled kind of briefly when she brought this up.
Yeah.
And for me, that still, because I've always liked De Vera. I said that in past episodes. I had
Mhm.
a hunch that she was, I don't want to say a good guy, but disagreed with
Yeah.
everything happening.
Sure.
If she even knows, but I feel like at this point, that right there solidified for me that she knows and
Mhm.
she doesn't agree with the actions that Navarre's taken. And
Yeah.
so she became my favorite professor in that moment. And I'm still picturing her. If you haven't listened to the last episode, this isn't going to make any sense, but I still am picturing her as the dean from Monsters University. That like
Oh, yeah.
centipede
I forgot you
thing,
said that, but yeah, I 100%
smiling.
heard Professor McGonagall coming out of your mouth, but then you changed your words to say the dean, and I got so confused. But yeah, yeah.
No, I don't picture her. I don't. She's not that old in my head because she's still a writer.
To me, she is. I can't tell you how it works, but it's
It
it's
does.
up there.
um, and then Dain gets butthurt that Violet is still mad at him, so he challenges her
That annoyed me
to.
so much.
Yeah, I don't
But I
know.
liked that they forced the progression in their
Yeah.
either mending or absolute explosion between them.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you
yeah.
couldn't just leave it in a lull. There had to be something. So I liked that Rebecca pushed it, but if this was real life, I'm so annoyed.
Well, and Violet was too,
Mhm.
so understandable.
Yeah.
But they finally, I actually, I think I had forgotten that at this point, Dain isn't 100% clear on why Violet is so mad at him. So then I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, like when they addressed him at the graduation and they just said Athbean, he realized like the situation they were talking about, but he's still no one expressively or explicitly told him
Mhm.
you read my mind without my permission or
That
my
took me by
memories.
surprise too, because she clarifies, I think, in this scene that he really
What?
doesn't know exactly why
Yeah.
she's mad, and so I was surprised reading that.
Well, like, yeah, because I mean, we all know. I think I just assumed that he connected the dots,
Mhm.
but
But he didn't.
he didn't. Like, he really didn't know what
Classic
specifically about that.
boy. Couldn't connect the
I
dots.
honestly,
Couldn't read my
honestly,
mind, and while having the ability to read minds.
memories, not minds, but same tomato,
Same,
tomato.
same, but different.
Um, because all he when they said Athbean, they just, I mean, I think he realized that they were upset that he read her
Yeah.
my memories, but I think he thought they were upset about like the fact that he told his dad that Xaden just went to Athbean.
Mhm.
Obviously, I think he doesn't know anymore. We don't know what he knows. And at this point, it's solidified too that he has no idea like what's
Yeah, because I
actually
guess
happening.
in his mind, how could he possibly have known that when they'd get there, there would be an attack if he wasn't privy to that information?
Well, they
And
don't know what he's privy to.
yeah, I guess.
I mean, I think it's pretty safe to, well, I don't know. I just assumed he never did. One, because he's such a rule follower and that is like feels very against the rules. Like
Mhm.
not really, but like the unspoken rules, like what Navarre
Yeah.
is doing. But if Violet didn't know and his dad and Violet's mom are obviously not exactly the same level but relatively high up.
Mhm.
So I mean, I just assumed that his dad didn't tell Dain either. Violet's mom didn't tell her.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But anyway, all that to say is at the end of this, and except when he said his excuse for saying "I'll miss you" was saying like I'll miss the what we could have. I don't understand. If you're watching this, I don't know if you're not. My I don't the balloons. I don't know how my phone is doing this. Anyways, the how he was saying he'll miss her like the idea of them or like their relationship what could have been.
Mhm.
That was icky to me. I'm like, you don't say I'll miss you to the
But
idea of
it
someone.
was and I kind of understood him in this point. It was the first time that Violet outright chose Xaden over Dain. Like,
What
till until that
absolutely.
she told Dain, like, "Oh, I don't," she just kind of avoided, and maybe she said, like, "I don't see us being more than friends," or anything like that, but she never said, like, "I choose him." So when he said, "I miss you," it was just,
1000%.
"This is my enemy. I'm not gonna be able to be around you if you're around him, so I'll miss you." So to me, it made sense, but I kind of wasn't even, I think, all on board until they really figured out that Dain didn't know. I don't think I was on board that Dain didn't know anything about this. I still kind of felt like he was just playing it off.
Mhm.
So,
Well, so I hear what you're saying and I do agree with you. Like the fact that you're right. Like she straight up chose Xaden out of or like at that point the line was drawn. It was
yeah,
very clear that she's picking him, she's not picking Dain. Like I understood all that, but saying I'll miss you
yeah.
to me did not feel like the right word choice. I would have been like goodbye maybe or ouch. I don't know. Like but you can't miss something that was never there.
Have you
Like
seen Ants?
the movie?
Yeah,
Like
the
the
movie
animated one?
Ants. Yeah,
I
with
mean, I've seen
Sylvester
it, but I don't have to
Stallone and
quote it.
oh, well, there's a part where this girl like kind of dances away from him and he's like, "Youch." And that's what I'm picturing.
So not that, but
I know.
also same, but different. She's walking away. He's, but I don't know. I just the actual phrase "I'll miss you" just felt really misplaced for what he was saying. Like the reasoning behind why he said
Yeah.
he said it. But that was my only issue with it. Outside of it, this entire conversation. Oh, well, then also I forgot. Then Xaden or
Dain grabs her at the
Dain.
very end and was like, P.S. Your mom is
Well,
the
he's
one
like,
who gave
no, he
Xaden the
goes, I bet
107
you know about the
scars.
lashes, and she's like, yeah, like on his back, I know about that, and he's like, bet you didn't know that your mom
Gave them
gave
to
those
him.
to
Yeah.
him. I don't know
Oh,
why that didn't feel like a big thing to me.
me either. And it really was like a really heavy thing for Violet. But to me, I thought someone had to give them to him. And she's obviously very high up. And we all know she doesn't really care for
Well, she
anybody.
killed his.
So,
I might have to correct myself, but isn't she the one who killed his dad?
um,
Like,
yeah, I think
executed?
so. Because there's a reason he hates the Soren Gale specifically. So I
Exactly.
do think that is true.
I'm pretty sure she killed his dad. So I'm like, I feel like that's worse than giving him 107 scars on his back.
Yeah.
But I don't know. To me, that wasn't all that surprising. I guess she was more surprised the fact that Xaden didn't say something. But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, if I was Xaden and my girlfriend's mom did that to me way back when, that's not pillow talk. I wouldn't really be like, hey, guys,
Hey, babe,
remember that
guess
one
what?
time? Remember that one time your mom whipped me 107 times and then they left silver scars on my back before we knew each other? Good times, good times. I don't know. It would.
That's
I just
terrible.
didn't feel that weird that he wouldn't
Yeah.
say anything. I'm
No,
not
I know.
surprised that her mom did it. So, but all in all, after this challenge, I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I'm not Team Dain, but I don't hate him.
I
A
also was
lot of
not
people
Team
like
Dane, but didn't
absolutely
hate
hate
him.
him.
Mm-hmm.
I just was like, he's doing his best. He's just a boy at this
Well,
point.
especially if it was true that he genuinely did not know what was going
Exactly.
on, he's doing his duty to his country. This guy is a known
We know
criminal
he's a
son.
and we know he's a rule follower. Like we
Yeah.
know this about Dain. So why wouldn't
Now,
he
the
doesn't know his dad
only
is met corrupt.
his
So
only
why would he not?
judgment was taking that information from Violet without her knowing. That is where he fell short. However,
Yes.
getting people killed, sending them to their death, I don't know if we can say that's on him. So that's where I landed. I didn't like him
Intentionally
because
on
he
him.
still got slimy with taking her memories, but I didn't hate him because he
Yeah.
did not intentionally, yeah, go and try to kill people.
Exactly. He's definitely like I don't know. A lot of people compare him to Tamlin. We also had compared him to Tamlin in Fourth Wing. Like,
We wanted to hate
but
him, but he's not enemy number
I
one
know
anymore.
he's not. I hate Varrish so much more than I hate
So much
Dain.
more. He's so bad.
And I don't know. I like Dain seems like he could be a friend again at this point to me. I don't know. Maybe that's a
That's
I don't feel like that's a hot take, but
yeah.
we might get if it might have people that
I'm
disagree.
telling you,
Let us
what if
know.
Dane is the enemies to lovers? I don't
No,
want it.
that
Let me be the
I
first
will
to say I don't
never
want it.
I will never get
But
behind that.
let's just
That
think about this for a second.
no. I don't even want to think about it. That's not something I can
All
ever get
right.
behind.
So then
Um
Rhiannon gets super close to figuring out the truth.
right after this, yeah.
She figures out Dane's signet that the other cadets are getting killed slash attacked. She
Hmm.
figures out that they saw something that they shouldn't have. She asks Violet what killed Day.
Yeah. But
Did you
and
think she was going to guess it?
well, I didn't I know obviously suspicious. I didn't think she was going to guess it, but then Aaric broke his wrist and Violet's like, "I'll take him." And as she's walking away, that's why when Rhea is like, Violet, what killed Day?" Like
Yeah.
you need to confirm this for me cuz I'm already like assuming something else is going on. But
Mhm.
Violet just kept saying no. So I think she was going to guess, "Oh, folklore's real?" No.
Right.
But
It's so far fetched. It's a hard guess.
I was kind of curious how this was going to come back up again because
Yeah.
obviously she's smart. Like she's not
Yeah.
going to let this go either. I wouldn't let it go if I was her. So
No.
I was like, okay, this is opening a door.
Hmm.
Um, and
But then
then we learn that Aaric knows the truth, which I don't know why that surprises me so much.
it
Or
surprised the heck out
surprised.
of me because I just felt like the king would protect his kids with the information that they need to know and don't need to know. And so when he said, "Oh, I know what's going on," Violet said, uh, or I think Violet said, "How long have you known?" He was like, "Well, I joined, didn't I?" So I liked that he was noble enough to join the Riders
Exactly.
Quadrant to fight for what was right. against what his dad wanted, which was
Well, I will say, I don't necessarily know if he joined to fight for what was right, because he doesn't know anything about the revolution, and he's technically joining their forces to fight against the
I would have
perceived
to
enemy.
assume that if that's the reason he joined, then he
It's just,
was going
I
to
think
do
it's just to get
something about it.
training.
Yeah,
He needed
exactly.
a dragon and he wanted to get trained so that he could do something about it, but I don't know what he thought he was going to do about it at the same time.
Maybe start his
It
own
not knowing.
revolution. He's a king's
Yeah.
son. He has quite a bit of pull. I'm surprised they didn't. I'm surprised Rebecca didn't write his story more in this book, because there's a lot going on with him, and he is literally, to me, equal to Sawyer at this point. There just wasn't a big,
Yeah.
then King. What's
Well,
his
we
name?
might get more. Huh?
What's the king's name?
Oh,
Tyree, Kyrie,
starts
something
with
like
a
that.
T. I don't remember. Something, I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, but I'm surprised King hasn't found him yet. That's insane to me. How do
I
you not
know.
know where?
Well,
It's like that
the
commercial. Do you
excuse
know where
makes
your kids are?
Oh, I hate that. I don't want to talk about that. No, it makes sense to me why his dad wouldn't be suspicious. He's supposed to be doing his like 21st birthday tour. Like, as far as his dad knows, he's drinking and partying his way through
Sure,
Navarre.
but why aren't you checking up?
They don't
To
have cell
me,
phones.
they
What?
have birds with letters.
I don't know.
I don't know
It's a
either. And they
young
have dragons. They have
His
ways.
dad doesn't have a dragon. His dad's not a writer.
His dad is a king. Send a writer to go see if my son is okay on his drinking tour. All I'm saying
He's
is it's outrageous that nobody has checked on him, and he's literally created a new persona, a new life, and is outright rebelling and doing his thing in the
That's
writer's
true.
quadrant,
That's
and
true.
nobody had a sniff of suspicion.
Well, because the guards are like, heck no, if I don't want to get in trouble for losing him.
Yeah.
So, but okay, moving on.
Imagine your number one responsibility missing, and you're just like, well,
Can't
and
tell the
going on
king.
with your life. All right, now we
Gotta
can move
find him.
on.
So, chapter 22 opens up with the dream that Violet was having about the sage. It felt so real to me, and I
Yeah.
realized that was like the point, but like so real that I was actually concerned that it wasn't a dream.
No,
And
100%. I don't know if I was the only one. Tell me. I absolutely thought the sage was invading her mind, and
yes,
because she's describing how real it was, I think you wouldn't do that unless it was foreshadowing that it was real. And so I was
well,
like, the sage
exactly.
invaded her mind. He's talking to her through her mind. I don't know if he can't hurt her in her dreams or what, but it gave Ender's Game. Do you remember how his dreams were? I don't remember if it was real or if like they were alluding to something that about the wars and he figured something out from his dreams, but I
Wait,
was
what?
thinking a
They
lot
gave
of
who?
Ender's Game.
I
I don't
don't know what
remember
you're talking
Ender's Game
about.
well enough, but I know something with the dreams really affected the outcome to his story. So, one
That's
and one.
I believe. Okay, I understand what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying, but I have no idea the reference. I don't know what you're talking about reference wise.
You've not watched or read Ender's Game?
No,
Oh, well, it's time. It's a great book. It's an okay
that's
movie.
awesome.
Yeah.
I literally have never even heard of it. It's not even
What?
like
It's
no.
huge. Huge in
I
the book
believe
world,
you.
in the movie world. Not the movie world, the book world. All right.
I believe you. I'm new to the book world, Ellie. Book world.
But
Book world.
okay.
Anyways, I believe you, and that's awesome. The sentiment is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Same page. Um then it feels like Xaden and Violet are finally starting to make some progress. He's there, he's visiting, he agrees to take her to the forge. And by him giving her some trust in doing that, he asks her, now can I have a little bit of trust? And she says yes. And I'm like, this is it. You're giving the people what they want. Way to go, Rebecca. Until unsurprisingly, Major Varrish shows up out of nowhere, and he's a douche. Um, he at that point decides that that's the right time for their interrogation part of the RSC class, and
Mhm.
Rhiannon's there, Sawyer's there, Professor Grady shows up, and it just, again, they're separating the two of them, and it's driving me nuts. But I'm also like terribly concerned for Violet's safety at this point. Her shoulder's not in the best shape. Got a little hurt doing some dismounts earlier with Taryn. But then I will say I really liked the exchange between Xaden, Varrish, Professor Grady, and Violet that was happening out loud.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, the internal conversation that was happening between Violet and Xaden, and then Violet and Sigale, because Xaden was getting real close to getting in like a lot of trouble. So Violet reaches out to Sigale and is like, please get him out of here.
That's such a rare thing for Violet.
I know.
She never tries to interact with Sigale, but when she absolutely needs to, I love that she has that tiny bond where she can go and speak to her. Ooh.
Me too. And I like also too, honestly, like I want to get to know Sigale more. I need more Sigale in my life.
I know. I want to know Xaden and Sigale's relationship. I want
me too.
Their books.
I don't necessarily know if I want their books, but I need to know more of their internal monologue, because I know we get little bits of like who she is from Taryn and stuff, but she seems way more snarky than Taryn to me. Like, and I just like that, like, Violet's initial reach out to her, she's like, hey, he's being, I can't remember the exact word that she uses, but it's relentless or something like that. And her response wasn't, you're right, let me get him out of here. Her response was, that's why I chose him for that.
Yeah,
exactly. And I'm like, I love that was her response, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, but girly pop, he's about to get everyone in trouble. Like, I get it. I'm glad that you like him for that. I'm glad that's why you picked him.
Love that for you.
Love it a little bit less in this moment. Yeah. Like, they're all about to die. So
yeah.
But and then I like that Xaden's like, you went to Sigale? Like, I can't even believe you just did this. All right, chapter 23. I loved this chapter. This is the interrogation is happening in this chapter. I like the bonding that happens between the crew. What do you want to call them? I know they're like in a squad,
just
but I feel like we need
I just call them the squad.
All right. But
am I boring?
Yes, survey says in this moment. I like that when they had to tell each other a secret that they didn't even know like about each other. Violet thought her secret was that she was in love with Xaden.
Like, what did she end up saying her secret was? She gave like some juicy tidbit.
Oh, it was what was it? Oh, I don't remember. Shoot.
Okay. Keep going. I remember that whatever she said, I thought to myself, wow, I'm really shocked she said that, because
it had something to do with what was going on. Yeah.
In Resson, yeah. Or I don't know.
It was yeah, whatever. But I just thought it was funny. Like, I get it internally. This is the first time she's like admitting out loud that she is still in love with him. Like,
and all her friends were like, we know.
Get that. Yeah, I know. But all her friends, like, that's not a secret. Like, even if they don't know that you're officially in love, like, it's a pretty safe conclusion to come to at that point.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was funny. I like that there was a little bit of humor in this very tense situation. I'm also glad they did not fall for the poisoned water trick, or not poison, but tainted water. Glad they didn't fall for that again.
Yes.
So they didn't lose their signet and their bonds.
I genuinely thought they would drink that again, and I was like,
there's no way.
Have we not learned? But I'm so glad that we did learn.
But they pretended like they had. And okay, I don't know if you thought this when you were reading it, and I realized that this is not real life, but I had a hard time not like assuming, because while they're in there, they're talking like, oh, don't drink it, but pretend like we did, like all this stuff.
Yeah.
I had a really hard time not being like, there's probably cameras in here. They're probably just sitting in a screen out in the other room watching you. They're gonna know everything you're talking about.
You thought they would have video cameras, but not phones. They don't have cameras.
Ellie, I know. I said I realized that this wasn't what was happening, but as in my head, like my internal dialogue as I'm reading
Yeah.
this, I want to be like, shh, don't say that. Shh, they're listening. Like they know. Shh. And I
I guess,
pictured
yeah,
in my
I really
head,
thought they would find out too, because I'm like, how would
yeah,
you hide that? But I guess in real life, if you had no cameras and you just pour the water out on the ground, who's to say you didn't drink it? And there's no way to prove it.
well, exactly. They didn't even need to pour all of it. And it didn't, honestly, they probably could have just not even touched it. They don't, it's not like they remember exactly how much they put in there.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I just was like, I was laughing to myself being, every time they were like telling each other how they're gonna try and get out, like throughout the rest of the time that they're in this room. I was just like, they're gonna know, shh, they're gonna know. But then two random people that they had never seen before come in to do the interrogation. What did you think of the signet? The way they describe it was, my signet is similar to Lieutenant Nora's and has to do with your bodily functions. In layman's terms, I know when you're lying and when you're not lying.
Oh, she was a
Oh no, sorry. It says I know when you're lying and you're lying. Like,
oh, I figured she was a lie detector, as in like can tell when your elevated heart rate and all that, which I don't think those really work. But
well,
whatever.
lie detectors are very subjective
I did
in
one
real
before,
life.
a
But
real
yeah.
one, at a sleepover. My friend's dad was a cop and he just had one. I don't know if it was real or not now that I say this out loud, because I feel like that's a huge piece of machinery. I don't
That's not
think.
really something you can just like
But
check out for the weekend.
they cornered me with like, "Oh, do you think my boyfriend's cute?" We're middle school, mind you. And I relaxed my entire body. No. Hot
And lied
lie.
through your teeth.
Hot lie. And I passed. And they were like, "We knew we could trust
That's
you. You're a home girl."
That's why I don't think lie detectors should ever be admissible in court, but I don't think they are actually for that
Little middle
reason.
school
But
girlies can lie and get away with it, so criminals
don't you
easily could
think
lie and
hardened
get away.
criminals can get away? Exactly. And on the flip side, don't you think that very normal, innocent people that are scared out of their minds the test could be
Yeah,
miscued?
yeah, 100%. Well, when I'm at the doctor, they're always like, "Wow, your heart rate's elevated." I'm like, "'Cause I'm terrified of you."
Because I have white coat syndrome, not because
Yeah.
anything's wrong. But
So, easily could
anyways, I
mess
don't
up.
know why the first time I read this, I couldn't tell you. This is gonna make zero sense. I'm gonna say it, and you're gonna be like, "Really?"
Mhm.
When she first said that, like my signet is like Professor Nora's, and I can tell based on bodily functions. I think it was just the phrasing bodily functions. I was like, I thought she could somehow tell based on like someone's pee if they were lying or not.
Ew.
And I was like, that is the worst signet
Lie.
possible. But I'm like, how does that even make sense?
How
And
do you even know that's your signet?
how
Something's
do you just
wrong.
your bladder's full of lies.
Full of lies.
I
Oh my
just was
gosh.
like, I am my own worst enemy. I jumped to the conclusion by myself, but that is the first thing I thought of, and I think it's just because generally the phrase bodily functions when you say it has to do with like things like that. I don't know, for
Yeah.
me, at least the
Yeah.
only time I've ever heard it used normally. So I think that's why I jumped there, but I was like, that's the worst signet possible. And then the second time around reading it, I was like, okay, no, heart rate, that's a bodily function, and that
That
makes
makes
more sense.
sense. No, absolutely. I do not think bodily function relates to heart. So I am in 100% agreement with
Yeah.
I agree that I could have gotten there.
Yeah. You also mentioned this in the last episode that you felt like almost like name fatigue, like between like different people and places and
Ugh,
everything.
yes.
I still stand by what I said. I don't generally feel that with this book, but I did in this moment, like when they're like, mine's like Professor Nora's. I was like, who is Professor Nora? Like they're referencing it as if I should have
Yes.
remembered what her signet was. And I was like, I don't know who you're talking about. But
It
they
is a
explained it
lot.
still.
We won't get back into it, but it is a lot.
I know. I just want to say, I feel you. I wanted to validify your
I am
feelings in that.
seen and heard.
So then they use the whole "you're the weakest" tactic with putting Violet in the chair first and everything. And honestly,
It was getting old.
It was, and it was overused. I don't feel like it was overused by Rebecca, like, as an author. I think
Sure.
I understand. I feel like if I was in Besgaiath at this point, it would be like, we can't keep using this. She keeps proving everyone wrong over
I
and over and
know.
over again that she's the weakest. She literally has, outside of the general of the, or I don't know, the guy, commander of the entire army,
Yeah.
she has the strongest dragon, chose her. She has 2 dragons that chose her. Like, give it up. She's okay, so she sprains her wrists a lot. Like, I don't,
Sometimes.
she's not the weakest link anymore. Like, stop
I
using that
know.
against
Obviously,
her. It's not.
she made it through the first year. She's making it through most of the second year. She's
He
got
has
a
yet
lot
to
going
die.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not the weakest link. The weakest links have been this is so insensitive. I'm not going to finish that.
Okay,
Let's keep
don't. Yeah,
going.
it might make me sad. But I don't know. I just was like, I don't understand how they keep thinking that this is gonna work.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, because she's not until Varrish walks in with Dain. And this is where I just said, I was like, oh, Dain's the best. I'm not really, but I'm cool with Dain. But then
Mhm.
when he walked in, I was like, oh crap, is this gonna be the part where I severely misjudged him like I did with Tamlin? Like, oh no,
Just when they got me again.
they got me good. Um, but because they didn't drink the water, that like her first thing, she was like, Xaden, help, Dane's here. Like,
Mhm.
uh-oh. So she could still talk with him. And I also like that the first thing that Dain did was stick up for Violet.
I
He was
know.
like, hey, she's hurt. The codex says you shouldn't interrogate someone like unless they're perfectly healthy.
Yeah.
And then Varrish calls him out on the stupid word that but should.
Yeah.
Um but after, and then he says like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. I just like that, like, I'm like, all right, my faith in Dain is back. It's restored.
Is it
He's not
fully restored
at
at
this
that
point
point?
100%. He's like,
Nice.
because it didn't feel like an act. So
Sure.
I was like, I'm either going to be the biggest fool and the most gullible reader
But I'm willing to
at this
take that
point.
risk. No doubt about it, I am willing to get hurt again.
I'm willing to allow myself to be emotionally rocked for a third time at
For
this
a
point with
third
Dain.
time. I
But
love it.
I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. um and after he asks what he's doing here, then Varrish responds by saying, testing a theory, but while we're waiting for our guest to arrive, you should practice on her. Did you think, that his theory was that Violet and Xaden could communicate through a mental bond? Or did you think that his theory was, in fact, that Violet and Xaden are part of a revolution and all that entails? I realized that, like, immediately after this, they're leaning more towards the Violet makes a comment like, oh, he's testing to see if we drink the concoction or whatever, to see if we
Mhm.
still have our thing. So I guess he also could have been testing like if Taryn
Taryn
showed
would have
up or
come.
not.
To
I don't
me,
know, but it
testing a
felt
theory felt like this is gonna sound so stupid. I have 2 things to say. To me, testing the theory was like testing their love. Could Xaden
hey,
recognize that Violet wasn't around or was gone longer than she should have been and just burst through the doors and come, or would he come to save her if he knew she was in trouble? That's the theory. Um Also, I think what you said makes a lot more sense though, testing the theory of do they have a mental bond? Not to toot my own horn, but I'm going to say it. I personally think I would have figured that out from them without anybody telling me, based on how
just
much
because of
they
how much
just
they
sit in
stare at each other.
silence and like look at each other and then just know things. And I'm like, I think I would have figured that out. As improbable as it was, there are dragons speaking to me in my mind. And if I knew that they were mated, I would assume
Yeah,
that they had some other perks that we weren't privy to. And how much they just stare at each other, I would think, I got this, I got you pegged.
it's not a far leap. You're not wrong. I don't know if I would have figured it out, but Varish isn't stupid either. Like
Yeah.
he's smart. So I don't know. I know maybe this is me just like looking too far into this.
Hmm.
But I just felt like, even though Violet in theory kind of explains it away like immediately after he says testing a theory, like that she thinks he's testing to see if the bond is strong enough or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
because then she tells Xaden, she's like, wait, stop. Varrish is trying to see if you show up.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't say anything. First off, she never said anything to Taryn, and she doesn't say, wait, Xaden, stop. He's trying to see if Taryn shows up, so you can't also show. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just felt more like Varrish was actually looking into this more than Violet even thought to
Sure.
me.
Yep.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
um and then Violet makes a comment after internally.
Mm-hmm.
She says, while Carr is my teacher, Varrish is Dain's. And then I got a little
I forgot
back to
about
being a
that.
slightly suspicious of Dain again. I'm having whiplash.
That's
Snip
funny.
snap, snip
That's
snap.
suspicious.
Just with everything that's happening with Dain, and is he good? Is he bad? I loved that I was having whiplash. I loved that I was so
Yeah.
sure of myself one moment, and then the next I was like, maybe not. But then I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
He's good. I'm fine. And then
I
a little comment would be made, and I'm like,
I think I was
God, I
pretty
don't know.
convinced he was good at this point. I just didn't see it going back to like all this build up and secret hinting and subtly, dropping sentences to make you think, "Oh, he's changed." I didn't think that would all be for nothing and that turns out he's double bad, double down.
Double
So,
bad.
I kind of figured things were going to where
Yeah.
it would still look like he could be bad, but it was too much hinting that he was good again.
Yeah.
So,
So then my blood started boiling when Varys was trying to bait Dain
mhm.
into reading her memories by saying, you could learn what it is she sees in him, why she chose him over you. Don't you want to know? All the answers are right there. You just have to know where to reach. And I'm like reading this, I'm like, he is Satan. He is literally the serpent in the Garden of Eden trying to get Eve to eat the apple. Like, I don't know. If I was Dain at this point,
Yeah.
truthfully, well, maybe not, but maybe it's just because I know more as a reader. But I think I would be like, why are you trying to get me to read her memories
Yeah.
so hard? Like,
Yeah, it
what?
was
You're trying really hard here. Like, and I've been a second year. They don't bring in classified
100%.
signets to try and break people. Like, what is your problem?
Yeah. No, 100%. I did think in this moment, Varish is being such a little tryhard because if I was someone and they were baiting me with exactly what I want to know,
Yeah.
I would just not do it. I just feel like that's
I
something's
would
wrong.
just not. That honestly though, I mean, that's why I'm just like, slow your roll. Like, you were, dude,
I
she's
know.
a
It's like, you know what it
20-year-old.
reminds me of? It's when hackers, like, when you get those emails for phishing and they're like, this is your boss in all capitals, like, whatever, John Smith. And then, like, please immediately wire me $7 million. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you flew too close to the sun. Had you calmed down a little bit and been like, hey, this is your boss, John Smith, please wire me $700, a much more reasonable amount, and do that, I would be
Yeah.
so much more inclined to believing that that's something true rather than like send $7 million in Google Play gift cards immediately.
In
So that's
Google
what I felt
Play.
like Varys did. Like, if you want to convince Dain to read her memories, tell her something not like, don't you want to know why she chose somebody else that's not you? Mm,
Without giving context on how I know how much you're into her
I
and
know.
that I care so much about the romantic
Yeah.
interests of these students at this war college. Wouldn't it be cool to know, buddy? Like,
Yeah.
I don't just
But Dain
get
pulls a little
get a
sponge
hobby,
Bab
Varish.
and says, I don't really feel like it.
That's actually not true. So that works.
I'm
He
sorry,
starts
Sponge.
going for it. He starts going for it, and Violet says no.
Oh,
And
yeah. And then
and
he
then
stops.
Jaden, he's like, "You're no," and then that's when he leaves. He's like, "I'm
Ugh.
done. I'm
Imagine
done
the
with this."
slimy hypnotism of that working on you. Imagine being that person.
I know. So even though at this point, even though I respect Dain, I'm like,
Yep.
all right, he's making the wise choice. I do think less of him that worked.
Ugh.
I'm like, all right,
And then
but
Varys freaking just like rage punches Violet in the hurt shoulder and she passes out, which was so
I
funny to
know
me, but so rude.
it was. It was so rude, but
That's
I
so
agree. It was
out of
so funny.
pocket. What the heck is your problem? Yeah!
Like, this entire situation was a grown man literally throwing a hissy fit
And
because
punching
a
a
20
girl
because a
in the
20-year-old
shoulder.
girl is besting him in life and like getting away with stuff that he can't figure out.
So
I
funny.
like
I just
what
can't believe
how
he
big of a
resulted to literally
complex
punching her.
how big of a complex do you have for
I
this
know.
to be getting to you so much?
Oh my gosh, this chapter's
Um
cracking me up.
that's what I'm saying. I love this chapter.
Yeah.
And then she wakes up to Nolan mending her.
Mhm.
Um which honestly, I liked Nolan in the first book. Nolan is sketchy for me in this, but I liked him here. Um, he says to Violet, he's like, he only called me in to do this so that he can keep doing this to you. And he's like, he's literally having me stay in the other room so I can keep coming in and mending you so that he can keep
Right.
breaking you all over again. And he's like, you need to get out of here. Like,
Mhm.
you're gonna die. Like, if you don't. So then as he's leaving, he tells the person outside, he's like, no, it's fine. Like, I'll close the door. So, and he locks the door, but he doesn't close the window so Violet can still hear everything. And he tells Varrish, that his patient or whoever is in the infirmary, and that he could benefit from Varish's particular set of skills, some BS to get him out of the
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
And then conveniently also notice that everyone else is on lunch or eating or something.
Mhm.
So it's empty. And then Sawyer uses his signet, gets through the first door, and then Violet's magic dagger that she happened to have on her unlocks the second door and they get
So
out.
I saw a reel. I don't know if it's real. I don't even know if I sent it to you, but I was laughing where it talked about so to me, this was a plot hole. This was a clear plot hole. I was like, what are
Yeah.
they just okay, now you have a magic dagger, okay, and we're just going to move past it. But someone was like, all these plot holes you think are happening are actually questions that get answers, you dumb idiot. And I was like,
Yes,
I'm so sorry, Rebecca, that's me.
I
I'm so
am.
sorry.
I I am the dumb idiot because this
Yeah.
this chapter literally ends on her saying, I literally like, how is this happening? We know that magic can't be held in objects, and yet this dagger just opened the door.
Yeah.
Like, so I agree. Like, all these things that were, I'm actually kind of glad that we do know what ends up happening a little bit, because if we were reading this in real, like reading it in real
Mhm.
time and then just talking about it, we would be like, Rebecca's so dumb. This doesn't make any sense.
I
And then we'd have to,
know.
in the later chapters, would have to be like,
I'd like
I'm
to
so
issue a
dumb for
formal
not reading
apology. I
for
hate
not reading
issuing
ahead.
formal apologies.
I know. So I agree though. I've seen that reel. I don't know if you sent it to me or not, but I did see it, and that is funny.
Ugh.
Um, but chapter 25,
Chapter
the
25.
parchment on everyone's chairs during battle brief. It's
Yes.
long, but I'm gonna read what it says.
Okay.
It says Zolia falls to Dragonfire. The third largest city in Breivik province has fallen to blue fire dragons and their riders. Though the city and its drifts fought valiantly, the 2-day battle ended in Poromish defeat. All who did not evacuate have perished. An estimated 10,000 lives have been lost, including General Fenella, the commander of Breivik's Griffin fleet. All trade routes to the city have been barricaded to prevent further loss of life.
Mm,
First off, 10,000 people. That is
that's insane. That's
absolutely
insane.
insane. That is so many people to die in 2 days. That's
Mhm.
wild. Um,
It's
did you think
devastating.
though, and so they're going back and forth on if this is propaganda or not. Did
Real.
you think that, I mean, I knew it was real, obviously, but
Yeah.
like, did you think that it was gonna push Rhiannon over the edge to figure it out?
I kind of thought that the professors would do a solid. I think Rhiannon probably would have added that. Yes. The answer to your question is yes.
I was like, this would be a really funny moment for her to figure it out in the middle of battle brief, like trying. That's like, yeah, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like, and everyone's like, what? But I did like how Ree was watching Violet to see how she reacted
Mhm.
to if she thought it was real or not, because then Violet is reading this and looks at Bodhi and Imogen. Bodhi and Imogen are like, what the heck, looking at her. And so that's why Ree is like, all right, something this has to do with whatever she's not telling me about. And honestly though, even though I hate him and I hated it, I love how Markham handled this situation. It made me, because I feel like throughout this whole book, there's a small part of me that's just like, how is no one asking more questions? You know, like,
Yes.
not that there's any reason for them to be, but I'm just like, how is no one?
Yeah.
How is there not anyone that is like thinking outside of the box? Or you know what I mean? I don't know. How is there no one that's risky? Like, I'm thinking in real life, there are people that don't care about safety and want to travel and would want to leave just to be able to go to the aisles and stuff. Like, no matter how much the government or anyone would tell you it's not safe, like, there's people that would be like, I don't care, I want to do it. So like,
No, the
how are
lack
there
of questions is a huge, to me, and now I just said this, but I'm gonna come back to this, a huge plot hole. Because, like, even just Taryn and Sigale and Xaden and Violet, why aren't any of the professors really digging into what does this all entail? Because this hasn't happened either in a long time or ever. I don't remember. Why aren't we asking about this? And there's so much to unravel there, and then everyone was like, it is what it is. And
we just have to give them leave.
All these attacks, they get a little like glimpses. Why isn't anyone asking? But I guess on the side of a writer who is just keeping your head low to live and to do your training, if I was that person, and I obviously know that there are griffins that are attacking for the reasons that the faculty has told me, I wouldn't have that many more questions, I guess. But even Violet kind of was doing the same
I'm
thing,
even
and she
thinking,
had
like,
questions and figured it out. So who's to say?
I'm even thinking, like, not even just writers, like citizens.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a plot hole. I just think I'm just surprised that there aren't more people asking more questions in the last 600 years. Like, they've been able to just keep this under wraps. But I feel like they're able to because of how Markham handles the situation. He does such a good, Ree looks at Violet and says, Violet wants to know, I'm sorry, I'm totally messing this up. She wants to know, like, how would Markham react if this is real? Because Violet knows him better than anyone else. Then Violet says he's going to discredit, deflect, and distract.
Yeah.
And he immediately does all three of those things.
That.
But he's just so smart. Like, he has everyone hand in casually. He's just like, all right, everyone, I can't believe you didn't, like, immediately recognize this for what it is as propaganda. Just start passing this to the left. Like, he's just making it seem like it's not a big deal. But because he's able to get it away from everyone, which, again, also I'm kind of surprised that no one folded it and, like, kept it.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done. I wouldn't, but at least if I was Violet.
Well, I'm also wondering, I personally, if I was the one trying to act like this wasn't real, I feel like I would have been like, great, you found today's class assignment. Now, if this was real, how would you handle this? You know, like, I would.
But I understand why he doesn't do that. I
Mm-hmm.
understand why he doesn't do that, because he doesn't want people to start asking more questions.
That's
because
true.
It says in there,
I would lose control
fire,
so quick, is what we're getting from
the blue fire dragons.
Yeah.
The blue, and if they're like, obviously this isn't real, we know dragons don't have blue fire, why would you even put that in there?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would make people more suspicious, and which is exactly why he has everyone hand in. And he says, this is obviously not real. Have you ever known us to ever send in a riot of only blue dragons? Like, he missed, and then he takes it away so that no one can catch him on the fact that he changed the wording in it. Yeah, no one can, like.
I must have skimmed, because I don't think I caught that, but I definitely caught this next part.
Well, and then discredits it again by that saying things like that, and then distracts people by bringing in Jack freaking Barlow.
I lost my marbles. All the marbles. I lost them.
Nolan mended from the grave. And it all made sense why he was so I don't think I liked. Honestly, I don't think I liked that they brought him back. Obviously, I'm sure it has, even later on, has like a bigger. Well, anyway, I guess kind of like the bigger picture, but I don't like that they use Nolan to do it. Like, that feels... There's no way a Mender could literally resurrect someone.
Well, I
If
don't
he
think he
was
was
in
fully
100%...
dead.
How? Okay, but then how is he not dead from a mountain falling on him? He's human.
I don't know. He
He's
could have just
not...
had like one rock crush him and the rest. I mean, you've seen like when buildings fall on people, sometimes they live because they're just under the rubble, but like severely, severely injured. So that could have happened to him and he ended up staying alive.
But then...
Also, his dragon was in hiding the whole time, which I think was
No, his
crazy.
dragon wasn't in hiding the whole time. His dragon is the one that almost killed him during the land nav. This is to me, this is even a bigger potential plot hole in my opinion. Than anything else, was the fact that before they confirmed if it was him or not, before Jack even walked in, everyone's assuming it's Jack, and Violet asked Taryn, is this real? And he goes, let me check. Jack walks in before that, so she has confirmed that it's him. But then Taryn comes back and says that it is, like, Bade has been keeping this a secret for months and everything. But I'm just like, if this is really happening, like, the Empyrean, they're not just like people that you can keep secrets from. They're dragons, powerful dragons. Like, how did they not know outside of Bade? I understand Bade not saying anything, but like outside of that, how do they not suspect that something is going on, like, between Varrish acting as unstable as he is, Nolan is also a writer, so like he has a dragon, and Nolan's exhausted. Like, how does his dragon not...
That's so true.
That's so true.
I never thought about that.
Oh, I'm one of the commoners. I never thought about that. I'm so disappointed in me. But yeah, I agree with you 100%.
I'm just like, I was
crazy.
like, how did they all not know? This feels like it's too big of a thing for the dragons to have been able to be kept in the dark about it.
Yeah.
However, dragons not saying anything, that I understand. I mean, that's happened. So like, that would be... I feel like if Violet was just like, is this him? And Taryn was like, yes, I wasn't allowed to tell you, I would have accepted that more than Taryn not knowing and then being like, Bade was keeping a secret. Like,
maybe
I don't
the
know.
Imperium did know and they didn't tell the dragons, but that's not
important. But Taryn made it sound like they had no idea and Bade didn't tell them. That's how the way, like, in the book. That's how I took it.
I don't pretend to know a dragon's world or mind, but it seems wrong to me as well. Something suspicious.
But then we learn that there was also an attack at Samara, and no one was killed. But Professor De Vera looks right at Violet when she said that one rider was severely wounded, and then she scratches the left side of her neck. And which is exactly where Xaden's relic is. And I love my girl Vi just gets up in the middle of brief and just leaves. Markham is like yelling after her and she's not even turning around. She's just leaving.
Yeah.
And then Bodhi stops her, gives her his flight jacket because he's like, I'm not going to try and tell you to not go, but you're going to get cold.
Yeah.
And everything. So, but then we learn in the next chapter that all those feelings that she was feeling was Taryn's feelings, not 100% her own. But then it was also confusing for her to separate those because she was feeling some of it too.
Right.
It was Taryn just amplified it.
Incredibly I cannot imagine having like, I feel like a very emotional person. So add in the feelings of a massive beast.
Powerful dragon, I know.
You would just see me crying 100% of the time.
No one would ever want to be around me.
No.
And to make this even better, this was just like comical to me. She's worried sick, literally like gonna throw up, so concerned. She gets there and Xaden is sparring with Garrick casually. He's not, he doesn't even appear wounded.
So when I read that, I thought, so like, did De Vera lie? Like, it made me more suspicious, but then also I was like, maybe just Violet is just really jumping to conclusions and doing this for nothing. And she's going to get so punished when she gets back home. So it made me think of all the consequences after rather than, he's okay.
Well, I didn't think De Vera lied. I thought this chapter was more she's gonna overreact and it's gonna be more of a revelation for her on like how much she actually does love Xaden, and I was fingers crossing that this would be like a turning point for them. And I wasn't too far off because Violet or Xaden picks her up, runs her into the bathroom, locks the door, turns on the cold water so she can like try and do her best to not be hot and bothered. And then also shield him out, you're right, so that she's back in her own mind. And I like that she's like explaining everything, and in the middle of all of this, he just gets so jealous that she's wearing someone else's flight jacket.
You loved that?
I loved it because I loved how angry Violet got. She's like, are you kidding me? All this is happening, whatever, and you're concerned with whose jacket I'm wearing? You didn't even stop to look at the ranking and everything. You know that it was your cousin's? Like, I don't know. It just felt
well over
so
that. I was like, she literally just risked her actual life because of all the punishment, and he's mad about this. That's outrageous. I would turn right back around and leave. I would be so mad.
Exactly. It was such a real reaction. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. A lot of times in books, I feel like the characters' reactions aren't 100% like how if I was like, if this is like, I don't know, some of the things that Feyre did, like in ACOTAR, I was like, if this was real life, that's not how anyone would react. But for the most part, I feel like almost all of the reactions that the characters have in this book feel very real to me, and it's just one of the reasons I love this series so much. Like, but then you mentioned in the last episode that it was the shower scene. No, good lady. This is the shower scene.
That up, but this was.
It is kind of funny to me that they both happen in the bathroom though, and kind of gross.
Maybe that's what.
Because it's a common bathroom. It's like a shared restroom.
He has his own. He has his own because they make note of like, why do you have your own? Is it not? No, this is the door.
This is but you lock the door because it's not his own bathroom. This is the bathroom right next to the sparring. He was just sparring with Garrick.
Oh.
And then the first time, it was the bathroom right next to wherever they're probably the same bathroom because.
So here's my question: if you have your own, why are we not taking the extra steps to go to your own bathroom?
I don't know how close his room was. That wasn't necessarily his thought process. He was just trying to cool her down initially because Taryn's emotions were taking over.
Sure, but like we all know what's about to happen here because this is the shower scene. Why not go back up to your own shower?
He's still on a sabbatical he's not using it, remember? He's like withholding himself from her still. So
yeah. So I guess you can't.
You
can't keep love away.
They didn't assume this was gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's wild to me that they didn't see it coming, but.
I love that here says, then it's the shower scene. Ow, ow!
That's what I put in my notes. And then after. I don't want to talk about that on here.
No, you're fine. Yeah.
It feels weird it's one thing to read about it. It feels weird to talk about it.
That's fine. We're here for the plot.
Yeah.
Read on your own time.
Violet. Xaden, chapter 28, if anyone wants to go specifically look for it. Xaden invites Violet to go with him to the rendezvous spot to drop off the daggers.
Chapter 27 also, everyone. I'm so sorry for Melissa's error.
Oh, you're right. That was my bad. Now chapter 28. They're going to the rendezvous spot, and I love that Taryn didn't let her get out of the saddle once they got there. He was like, I said you could come. I didn't say you could. I'm going to put you in more danger
He's
than
such a dad. I love it. The bulldog energy.
I was just going to say a bulldog, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay, but think about how awkward would you feel if you're in Violet's...
Sitting in your car seat up there?
Exactly.
What did you say?
This is also like... We'll get into this, the conversation of everything a little bit more. This is just me. I know that... I don't know. I don't remember if they explicitly said everyone ignored her or not, but in my mind, while I was reading this whole interaction, they don't even acknowledge that Taryn and Violet are there, which there's no way you can ignore Taryn with how big he is. But it is just so funny. Like, literally, I was picturing her sitting in her equivalent of a car seat.
Do the second part, because it just gets so much funnier after we find out who is in the crowd.
was just as like, but then all of a sudden she just pipes up and it's like, hello. I kind of picture even like a Mrs. Doubtfire. Oh, help is on the way. Kind of like that's just from way up, and everyone like looks like, whoa, when did you get here?
It's for me. Do you remember the episode of The Office where Dwight and the girl, the brunette girl, they start walking around the bar looking for
Aaron?
games? No, it's one of Pam's
Oh
friends.
yes, the random.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Isabel.
Angela.
Isabel. Dwight and
Yeah.
Isabel are walking, and Angela comes up behind them. She's like, "This looks fun." He's like, "Crap!" It's just such a jump scare. That's how I felt about
Exactly.
Violet in this.
Exactly.
Okay, so in the crowd though, while Xaden is talking with what are they called? This group of people.
Serena. Oh, the Flyers.
Just the Griffin Rider. Yeah, the Flyers.
Yeah.
They start describing one rider and how beautiful she is.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately we knew that was Catriona,
Yeah.
who was the girl that Bodhi had brought up earlier, which makes this 10 times funnier to me because here they are on the ground speaking like normal people, and Violet again is in the car seat way up there, can't come down. It's so embarrassing.
I know. I'm actually, with how smart Violet is, honestly, I feel like it would have made more sense for her to immediately assume who that was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess maybe not. Why would she assume she was a flyer? Never mind. I take back what I just said.
Okay.
But as a reader, I knew exactly. Like anytime they're explaining someone she's beautiful, has the look that would be an actress in Caldeer, blah blah blah, like all this stuff. Like you know that is someone of some relevance and everything. And with how casually we just kind of forgot that Bodhi mentioned, like you said, that he felt someone named Catriona. I was like, this is it. This has to be her. But they didn't bring it up initially.
I need to ask something because I was going to let it go, but I've thought about this the entire time you were talking just now. When you said she's beautiful, she's an actress in Called Deer a place, or Called Deer like you're calling deer?
One, I didn't say she was. I said she could have been an actress in Called Deer because that's what Violet says, and it was how she's
Is Called Deer a
her.
place, or Called Deer like you're calling animals like Snow White? That's where I'm hung up.
The place, Called Deer, Calldyr.
Oh, I did not take it that way. I was like, yeah, she could call the deer.
She's like Snow White pretty.
Yeah. All right, that makes more sense. I like it. Let's move on.
Yes. So then, even though he did almost lose an arm from a griffin attack the other day when they attacked Samara, I was surprised that he was being as harsh as he was with talking to all of the Flyers. Did you think so too?
No, because I was mad at the Flyers because one, Kat was with them, so I obviously didn't like them anymore. And two, he did almost lose the arm. I'm kind of confused on the dynamic with the Flyers, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, but to my understanding, the Flyers are friends. The Flyers are now helping. We're supplying them, and yet the Flyers were attacking Samara and almost hurt Xaden. Why?
Did I
miss something?
Okay, well, I think we touched on this in a previous episode. They're not like attacking. They're only trying to get more weapons. That's the only reason they're attacking. But Navarre is using that as like, look, they're attacking us. They're our enemy,
right.
And they're trying to distract everyone from the real enemy.
Oh, so Xaden had to play on Navarre's side because they sent him out too, because he's on the front lines. I mean,
he can't. He's given an order to defend his outpost. He can't just be like, I don't really feel like it.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking this point, but I thought to myself, well, the Griffins are friends, but they're still attacking, so some of them aren't friends. We have some that are, I don't know, shirts and skins. How do we tell the difference?
That I don't think all of the Flyers are necessarily like. I think Xaden and his group of people in the revolution, and Serena and her drift, maybe a handful of others are willing to do what they have to do in order to like work together to some extent to save everyone. But I don't think all of the Flyers necessarily are even thinking that same way too. I don't know, because a lot of people most of them hate all of the writers because they I mean, they fight and people have lost loved ones in their wars and everything. So But yeah. Anyways, and then I still can't get over her. I love that he said it was a car seat. I can't get over how high Violet was on his.
I know.
Just
And then
talking
she pipes up from Taryn's back, and that you just know it's like this squeaky, like, excuse me.
Yeah. I know we already talked about it. I'm still thinking about it. I can't stop. I can't. And then she figures it out though when they're leaving, and she goes, "Come on, catch Riona," and Violet goes, "What?" But I love how in the beginning of the next chapter 29 how they handle it. And it's just like are we gonna talk about this when we only have so much time left together before I have to go back and get punished? And Violet says no, because there's plenty of time to talk about it later, and I agree.
I liked that too.
What did you think about Xaden saying that the Viscount likes to, quote, collect precious things and keep them against their will, quote?
That's like the ickiest thing you could say to someone. Disgusting.
Well, but I mean, if it's true, I see, because Violet.
Wait. I read it wrong.
I said it. You weren't listening to me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Maybe we should cut that part out. But I thought it was that the Viscount said that, not that Xaden said that about the Viscount.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah. Oh, yeah. If he had said that, that's icky. No, that's how, because Violet was explaining, like,
I clearly don't remember him saying this, but I don't like it.
They brought up the luminary, everything, while the flyers were all there. So Xaden and Violet start talking about it.
I remember now. Okay, yeah.
And the terms that come to, because Kat makes a comment, she's like, "You've turned down the last two proposals that he's given, and even though you had everything that was needed," and so she's like, Violet knows they're talking about her.
Okay,
so
that's why she's going to ask, do we know at this point that Violet knows that that's her? Yeah, I don't like that he didn't give her a choice, but I did like that he was protecting her. I often teeter on this line of like,
I know,
just let her make her own choice. If she thinks it's too dangerous, I personally can speak for myself in many situations that I think is too dangerous, and I won't do them. But if Xaden knows things that Violet doesn't, maybe Violet should trust him, but then he's not giving her reason to trust him in this exact moment. So there's just a lot of, I don't know, I'll just read. It's not really my business anyways.
I'm with you. I go back and forth between being like, she's a strong, independent woman. You need to tell her all the facts and she can make her own decisions, whether you like it or not. And also being like a 1940s housewife of like, I love that he's protecting her. And she should listen to him. So,
but I like the
I contradict myself. Yeah.
Like, okay.
In this moment, I like that he didn't give her a choice because it just felt like bad news. Like,
I like consistency with characters when they do this. Like, let's talk about Jamie from Outlander. He's very protective and very, like, from the beginning, I'm the authority and you're going to listen to what I say and we're going to do things my way. And sometimes Claire will, rebel, but it's not because he ever changed his mind on that. He's the protector, and that's that about that. Where in Akhtar, Rhys is, I'm going to give you the trust. I'm going to give you the trust. And the only time we really didn't like him is when he was inconsistent and said, I'm going to make the decision. So this book kind of messes me up in that Xaden is opposite from Dain in that he gave Violet a choice and was like, hey, don't tell her lies, give her the truth. But then now he's choosing things for her. So I don't like the inconsistency, but
I guess he is choosing for her. Yeah. I hear you. I agree with you. But
I feel seen and heard. Thank you.
This is like are we like in couples therapy? Is it
that what's happening?
Therapy? Are we giving ourselves therapy? So then
healing.
she goes back to Biscayeth, ready for whatever Varrish has for her. But I like that Professor Emeterio says indirectly that Violet is and Xaden are two of his favorite students. Because there's just so much uncertainty with who is good, who knows what, who knows and disagrees, like Devera, who knows and is crappy, like Atos. You know what I mean? Like, it's so, you don't know where the line is drawn with a lot of these characters. And so I like when we get moments of like real, genuine, like this. I still didn't make me know where Emeterio's like loyalties lie, but it gave me hope because at least he's like not a crappy person.
Right.
Like
Yes.
Xaden and Violet are two of his favorite people, and he knows that something's going on with them, but like he still likes them. I don't know. It
Yeah.
just to me was like, what
Yeah,
a
we need
sweet
some
thing to add in there.
good guys on our side because they just are feeling a little slim lately.
Sklim. Yeah, Sklim. That's it. But it doesn't take long for Major Varrish to show up and start freaking out and being in everyone's business and going through her stuff. And she forgets that before leaving Samara, Xaden gave her a dagger that she had in her jacket.
This
Or
scene,
his
I
jacket.
loved this scene. Yes.
I know. And he starts going through her stuff and she forgets that it's in there. And because of how big of a deal he keeps making of the fact that she's trying to pretend to be Xaden because she's wearing his jacket.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I have to get this away from me somehow. And Rhee sees her and she like
Eyes her
casually
pocket.
like explains what's happening without saying any words. And then Rhee closes the door again. And I like that Kaori showed up and is just advocating for her. Is like, what are you doing? Like, why are you since when do we search through Cadet's stuff? And he's like, since I can.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then Kaori's like, fine. Well, nevertheless, I'll be staying because power must always be kept in check. Don't you think, Major Varrish?
Mm-hmm.
And then proceeds to tell him, because he's like, why do you think I'm out, like, you abusing my power with her or whatever? And he just was like, I just think you abuse your power in general. Like, it just straight up says into his face.
I love
We're getting more professors on our side. I'm liking more and more of
Mhm.
them as we keep going. Then Kaori gets her out of court martial by saying that, oh, he's like, didn't you hear? To Varrish, like, duh. A second year, there's no way she can be expected to block
out Taryn's emotion.
Yeah.
Ugh, that was such a good.
There's no way
It was too
no one
easy for
expects
me.
her to be able to.
I was
Yeah.
prepping so much for this insane punishment. Like, we just saw freaking Varrish punch her in the shoulder out of rage. So I was expecting for this to be something wicked. And for Kaori to just pop in and say, you are relieved of any punishment because it had to be your dragon. And that's the only
it couldn't
explanation
be
I
your
need.
fault. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And I don't need you to explain anything.
But man, it was
I know.
way too easy of an out that I knew Varrish was going to come back with something nasty.
Mm-hmm. But then when she picks up her jacket, she realizes that the dagger's gone, which is why he didn't find it. And Rhiannon pulls her into the room with her, and Sawyer and Riddick were already there. And that's when Rhee, for the first time, is able to pull something through a wall. Like, she used her signet through a wall.
So here's where I kind of feel like I picture X-Men in this situation where Rhee's signet is more like a Jean Grey thing where she can pick stuff up and bring it over, move it around. But I guess she can
teleporting.
Exactly. Like winnow like the stuff through a whatever channel and it just shows up. Because I was like, what are they not going to notice? The dagger like unlatch and then like slide out of her pocket.
Floating across the hall
into her room and close the door. Okay.
And go through the wall. Like,
that's on me, Rebecca. That's not on you, and I'm so sorry.
And I own that. But then this is finally where they get to learn the truth of everything that's going on.
So good.
Except I did appreciate that even though I wanted them to know everything, I appreciated that she didn't say anything about Arisha or like her brother or anything because she's like, that's not my secret to tell. I feel like a lot of times in these, it's like, I can't tell you anything. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to tell you everything. But it's that like half the stuff doesn't even necessarily involve them.
Right. Yeah.
And I like that the boundaries were very clear with her on like, I'll tell you what I know and what's relevant to you. But if I hadn't almost died, I wouldn't have even know all this other stuff. So it's not my thing. Like, I shouldn't know.
It's not relevant to their knowledge in this moment.
Exactly. And not that I expected any differently, but I just love how receptive they were to everything.
This was incredible because I loved that it was a stark contrast to how Violet took the news.
Yes.
Now, Violet was bombarded with a lot more
She was a little overwhelmed.
Her brother shows up, Venom are real, and she's
almost died
as she's fighting them, not in a calm scenario. So the how they received it was a lot more graceful, but I thought that was so healing for Violet's relationship with Xaden, because she thought to herself, you know, if they're being so graceful with me, I would be so angry. I was so angry, but if they're so graceful with me, I can extend that grace to Xaden too. And I loved that. I thought it was very healing.
Mm-hmm. Well, because she even says, like, as she's withholding the information, like, internally, she's like, which
They're
I
gonna be
guess
so
is
mad.
exactly, like, for the same reasons I feel like I can't tell them is exactly why
Mm-hmm.
Xaden has withheld stuff from me.
Yeah.
And so
She
it
got a
is that,
real
like, level
eye
of
opener.
understanding. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just a level of understanding for like, where he's coming from. I do
Yeah.
like that that was added in there too.
Yep.
Then the moment, I don't know about you, but the moment that had all of us grinning, at least me, was when Riddick knew about the journals and no one else did. And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, "You're telling me that I know something that you," I just love how he was so Riddick about it too. Like,
I have to believe
but
that that Rebecca Yarros took this exact scene and like that little feeling from National Treasure when Riley sits there in
yes.
front of Benjamin and the
Oh, we
lady.
should make that meme
Yeah, and is like, I know
for that
something you
real.
don't know. Uh,
Yeah.
is this what it feels like to know something? That's
Yeah. Oh my
exactly
gosh,
what I thought Riddick did. Yeah.
we have to make that. That's hilarious. No, I agree. That's totally what it is. And that's why I was like, I wouldn't say laughing, but I was like giggling, like
Hmm.
reading it, because I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also love Riddick, so everything he does, I just
I do
like him more.
too. Yeah.
And then because Riddick like learned about it when he was reading a private ledger or something when they were in her mom's office during squad games trying to steal the map.
Hmm.
And then that's when he also learned about like the sub-level vaults of the archives, and that's
Yeah.
most likely where they're held.
Riddick really came in clutch here because
I
I
know.
don't know if they'd ever find that.
I know. And then switching gears here, what did you think about Jack being nice?
I didn't know how to take that. At first, I
I didn't
thought,
buy
wow,
it.
they're really going to give him a redemption arc. Okay,
Yeah.
I guess. And then
Mm-mm.
I just didn't feel right.
I didn't buy it. I
Yeah.
was like, there's no way. Like
Yeah.
he was too
It was
evil for
too
no
nice.
reason.
It was, you took my life. And in that way, I owed you a life because I was given my life as you took it. And like, BS.
I
I call
think
BS.
I it was, yeah, I don't know. It just felt, I mean, the same way Violet was like, there's no way. I
Yeah.
was like, there's no way. Violet, you're right. There's no way.
Hmm.
Like, but during threshing, so that happens, I teared up
I teared up
when
as well.
Sloane bonded with a red, what was it? A red
Dagger
dagger
tail.
tail, just
Hmm.
like Liam. Ah,
It was so
it was
sweet.
so good. I know. I was like, it's just the little details like that. Like, again, I'm not an author and I never could be because I wouldn't think to add something like that in there that gets the people in their feels. But while they're after
That's so
threshing,
fair.
Justinia sends him a missive, says that she has a tome, like something that they're looking for. But all of them, Ree has and Sawyer have like leadership duties. Violet's supposed to be on like first watch. And Riddick's the only one who Riddick offered to switch Violet, but then she's like, and give Varrish more reason to be mad at me. I don't think so.
Mm.
So Riddick's like, fine, I'll go meet her, and then I'll come find you. So she goes to the watch, and Aya is the other person. One of the other people from Resin, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, is up there with her. I immediately, right then when she said Aya was up there, I was like, oh crap. It's
Yep.
been a while since there's been some violence, since
Yep.
someone has tried to attack. Let's remedy
You
that
know,
tonight, shall we?
these scenes give me anxiety, I think, in real life. Because it's like it's too descriptive where, you know, oh, Riddick says, "Oh, I'll go grab them," or was it so I don't know who said they'll go grab the books instead of Violet. So you can go do this. Oh, okay, thanks. Like, why are you mentioning that? That's just
Yeah,
so
exactly.
casual. Why are we talking about this little exchange? Because someone's gonna attack. So when like my husband leaves to go to a store and I'm like,
Yeah.
goodbye,
Why did you
seems
offer to pick something up?
suspicious. Yeah. Like,
What's gonna happen to me
am
while
I
you're
going to get attacked
gone?
while you're gone?
Is our security system on? No, I agree. I'm
Hmm.
too anxious to begin with. So I have this messes me up in real life too. And then they get attacked by there's 2 of them. There's 4 infantry cadets that show up. Aya dies, which is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
And Violet is getting attacked. She's like getting thrown over the top. She's about to die. And just when that happens, the chapter ends with some hope because the person who was about to let go and kill her gets stabbed. And then that's how it ends. We don't know who stabbed. We don't know who kills her, but she's like, looks like she's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And that's the end. That's goodbye. Have a great week. No, I'm just kidding. Like
and that's cuts the whole video.
Yeah. But like I think this is the first. I mean, I'm assuming most people have already read the whole book, so it's not that much of a cliffhanger. But if you haven't, this is the first episode I'm pretty sure that we've done that ends on a cliffhanger.
Oh,
you'll have to wait for 2 weeks too. What a good week to have a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Our gift is anxiety and stress for not knowing what's happening. But that's the end of chapter 30.
All right.
This is so good. I loved this. I feel like a lot of really pivotal things happen in this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that I like already rereading it instead of it's been like, oh, it's been 6 months, I should reread it.
Right.
Because I remember a lot of the big things that happen, and I remember most of the order, but I'm realizing that I didn't remember it as well as I thought I had now rereading this. Like, I thought some of things should have already happened, and then some things I'm like, oh, that happened earlier than I thought I remembered it happening. So it's fun going back
this
now.
Whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is it for us. So be blessed.
Hope everyone,
have a great week.
Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you are enjoying I hope you get time off if you're working. If you're close to family, I hope you enjoy your time spending with them. If you're not, I hope you enjoy your plans. If you're not
enjoying your family and they're talking so much, you just put your headphones in, pull up the podcast, re-listen to all that
that's
stuff.
True. Yeah, go through our ACOTAR series if you haven't. Bring an audiobook then. Just put some headphones in.
Yeah.
Just be like pretending like you're talking to someone and just have it on full blast in your ears so that
and let us know what you're reading. We often put things in our stories to just kind of talk with you guys all about what books you're reading, and I've added so many to my TBR, and we're probably going to do some of the ones recommended by you guys on the podcast pretty soon. So we'll also be doing a poll of what book we should do next.
Yes, so if you have any suggestions, let us know. But we have a couple ideas. We'll see. We're going to see what the people are wanting. But I hope have a Merry Christmas, have a great week, and enjoy some time off.
See you guys in a couple weeks. Bye.
Bye.